Go. Alright, you're all welcome to Exam Help and Care Lesson Center or Exam Care Help and Care Academy. This is our online class where we'll be solving questions on physics, chemistry, and mathematics for the maths on WAEC NECO JAM. Now, today we are having general mathematics and we'll be looking at solving quadratic equations using what? Factorization method. Solving quadratic equations using factorization method. Now, the first thing I want you to know is that there's a general form for a quadratic equation or a function. We have a general what? Form or a pattern for a quadratic equation or a function. That when you see such things, you should know that they are all the same. So now the general form of a quadratic equation or function is ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to what? 0. I repeat, ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to what? 0. So that's the general form of a quadratic equation or a function. Now, like I said, we have various patterns or various ways of solving a quadratic equation. Now, the general forms of solving a quadratic equation, the first one is you have to use the factorization method. That's the first one we'll be doing today. Then we have another one called completing the square method. Completing the square what? Method. Then the third one is called formula method, which is also known as the use of almighty formula. Although the almighty formula only solves quadratic equation, it cannot solve any other equation like polymer equation and so forth. So it's also just for quadratic equation. That's the use of almighty formula. Then the fourth one is graphical method. Graphical what? Methods, where you use the graph to determine the roots of the equations at times. So now we'll be looking at one question here. We'll take one question here as example 1. So permit me to write example 1. Alright, so this is a question we have before us this morning. We have solve by factorization x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equals to 0. If you look at this and this, it looks alike. So that's the general form. So first thing, repeat the question. X squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to what? 0. Now, in this form, the a itself is having a unity. When we say a is a unity, like in this sense where we have ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0, like ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to what? 0. So yeah, a is a unity. What we mean by a is a unity is that the coefficient of a here is invisible what? 1, and it's not mostly used. But now when you talk about the coefficient of this here, x squared, you say the coefficient of x squared here is a, coefficient of b is x, then c is a what? A constant, something like that. Alright, so but this one you have invisible number. Now what is the way of solving the factorization of a quadratic equation using factorization method? The method you should use is first of all, you have to include what we call picking the last term. This is the first term, this is the second term, and this is the last term. So A here now, the coefficient is invisible 1, B is what? Is 5, and C is what? 6. So you find the factors of C. Factors of C, which is 6. Factors of C that equal to 6. Then when added will give us this B. The factors of 6 when added will give us B. Factors of C when added gives us B equals to 5. So the factors of C now, we'll write the factors of C. That is 6. Then the added values. Added values. Now, factors are those numbers that we divide a particular number without a remainder. That's a factor. A factor is a number that will divide a particular number without a what? A remainder. Now, for us to do this now, what we do, we'll say factors of 6. We have 1 and 6. First of all, 1 and 6. That's positive 1 and positive 6. So if we add them together, 1 plus 6 is going to give us what? 7. It is not giving us this B, 5. So go again, 2. We have 2 and 3. Positive 2 and 3 when multiplied. 2 times 3 will give us 6. Then 2 plus 3 is equals to what? 5. I hope I'm not so fast in explanation. So now we have 2 and 3, which is when multiplied gives us 6, and 2 plus 3 gives us what? 5. Now we have gotten the B. Now what we'll do, we'll write it and put a constant or a coefficient, which is, well, we'll put the alphabet x. Sorry, not the coefficient. So when I say x squared plus 5, this, okay, let me repeat the question again. 5x plus 6 is equals to 0, which is the original question. Now x squared plus this 2, you write 2x plus 3x plus 6 is equals to what? 0. Why the 2x plus 3x? The 2x plus 3x, when you add, gives us what? 5x. So the next thing to do is to what? Factorize. We are to what? Factorize the equation. Now to factorize is very simple. You pick two common factors here while factorizing. So if we are to factorize, we say x squared plus 2x, put it in a bracket for some of those who don't know how to factorize, then plus 3x plus 6 in a bracket equal to what? 0. Now, look at these two things inside this bracket. What are the highest common factors, or what is common between these two? You will agree with me that what is here is x and what is here is what? X. So divide both sides by x. So that's what we'll factor out. If this cancels this, you'll be left with 1x. So that thing which you used in dividing, put it out, x. What you're left with when dividing x squared is what? X. Then plus 2. Now, same thing goes this way. Two factors that can divide both sides. Yeah, very well. Two highest common factor is 3. As the highest common factor, 3 here, gone, 3 here, should give you positive 2. So that number you use is positive 3. So you say plus 3. And when you divide this, you are left with x plus 2 is equal to what? 0. So you have x in outside the bracket, open bracket, x plus 2 close bracket plus 3 bracket, x plus 2 equals to what? 0. Now look at this. If you take a look at this, you will notice that what is inside this bracket is what is here. So I always tell my students, even from GSS 2 and GSS 3, when I was still teaching the junior class section in mathematics, I do tell them that whatever you get here is what you're expected to have here. That's just a trick in factorization. So, but if what you get, please specific if it is quadratic equation, because you can get something different from any other thing you are factorizing, maybe binomial expressions. Alright, but this is a quadratic equation. So if you have x plus 2 here and you have x minus 2, please check very well so that you don't make a mistake. So we'll take the one outside the bracket, which is x plus 3. Then we'll take the ones inside the bracket, which is what? X plus 2. Just one common term inside. X plus 2 is equals to what? 0. Can you see that now? Now, I will now say x plus 3 is equals to 0, or x plus 2 is equals to what? 0. Now, x plus 3 is equals to 0, or x plus 2 is equals to 0. Now, when we say x plus 3 is equals to 0, we'll bring it out. X plus 3 equals to 0. X, collect like terms here. It says that 3 crosses the sign of equal to, it becomes x is equal to 0 minus 3. And 0 minus 3 will give us minus 3, negative 3. Now we have x is equals to 0 minus 2. After collecting the like terms, I've already collected my like terms here. So x is now equals to 0 minus 2 is minus 2. So the two answers we have is x is equals to minus 3, or x is equals to minus 2. Now if you want to check if your answers are correct, to check, you can reverse the process through expansion. That's in x is equals to minus 3, x is equals to minus 2. Now take it inside the bracket, take this inside the bracket. So now be x plus 3, then I'll have x minus positive 2 equal to what? 0. Expand. We are going to expand now. In expanding, I'll take one of these to times all of these. Then I'll take one of these to times all of these in this bracket. X bracket x, open bracket x plus 2, then plus 3 bracket x plus 2 equal to 0. If you agree with me, you see something that is the same here. If you travel this way, you have seen something. So it is a reversible process. So x times x, x squared, x times 2, that is 2x, plus x 3 times x, 3x, plus 3 times 2, that should give us 6 is equals to 0. So x squared, 2x plus 3x should give us 5x, plus 6 is equals to what? 0. So we have gone back to the original what? Question. So this is the original what? Question. I believe you understand this because this is very simple. This is a basic one. So I'm going to pause the video, clean up, and see to write another question and see if you're going to understand the pattern which I used in solving. Alright, thank you. Alright, welcome back. We are looking at general mathematics, the same solving quadratic equations using factorization method. Now, I'm going to solve this question, example 2. Now, example 2 says solve by factorization method 3 minus 2x minus x squared is equals to what? 0. You know, one thing with the students in this question is that when they see questions like this from the back aspect, they become scared. But do not be scared. This is when A is not a unity, where you have minus 1 inclusive That's the coefficient there. So now let's solve. Remember we said something like this when A is a unity, but this one is not a unity, minus 1 inclusive. Now let's solve the question. Now repeat, just rewrite it the way it is so that you don't confuse yourself, although you can rewrite if you prefer. So I'll write it the first time. 3 minus 2x minus x squared equals to 0. So assuming you are rewriting yourself, you can rewrite as minus x squared minus 2x plus 3 is equals to 0. So this is also correct, because minus is for this, minus 2x for this, and plus 3. So but I'll be using this way, this original question downwards. So to solve this, remember we are going to look for factors of the what? Of the last terms. Factors of c, when added, will give us what? Minus 2. So we say factors of c, that is 3, then the added value. Now, to not waste my time, I know that here is minus 2. So I have to use my knowledge to understand that to involve minus 1 and a positive 3, or minus 3 and a positive 1. So now, if I say minus 3 times positive 1, it will give me a minus 3. As minus 3 times a positive 1 will give me a what? It will give me a negative 3. So now if I say minus 3 plus 1, that should be minus 2. I don't know if you understand that. You are owing somebody 3 naira, pay with 1. What are you expected to have? You're expected to be having negative what? 2 there. Now, so since we have something like this, we have minus 3 times 1, which is positive 3, because the question says 3 minus that's those numbers there. 3 minus 2x minus x squared equals to 0. I'm just trying to confirm the question, please. So now, with this now, what we're going to do now, we're going to look for that last term, which is the 3 itself. So now that 3 itself, we said you look for factors of that positive 3. And I have said minus 3 times 1 is what? Is minus 3. But what is here is positive 3. Then we said minus 3 plus 1 gives us what? Minus 2. By the time you punch your calculator, that's it. So now, what is the essence of what you're looking for now? You don't just rely on the 3 here. Yeah, you will first of all look for factors of AC. This is another thing you should know when it's not a unity. So the factors of AC. Now what is that factors of AC? The factors of AC, where A is minus 1, comma, B is minus 2, and C is positive 3. So AC is like saying minus 1 times 3, which will give us what? Minus 3. So factors of AC, not just C now, factors of AC, that is minus 3. So in this aspect, when you have minus 1, no longer like positive 1, or maybe 6, yeah, 2, you times 2 with 3 to give you 6. We say 3 times minus 1, which I did here, where A coefficient minus 1, B minus 2, C coefficient of 3. So that's it. So we have multiplied our AC. So factors of AC, that is minus 3. Then the added value will give us minus 2. So repeating the question, 3 minus 2x Are you with me? Then minus x squared equal to 0. So when I say 3, then we can say minus we use this. Let's say 3 minus 3x plus x. The plus x is for 1. Then minus 3x plus x minus x squared is equal to what? 0. So let's look at this very well. Minus 3x plus x will give us minus 2x. Now, if you want to factor out, the highest common factors here are 3. And what will be left here is 1 minus x. Highest common factors here is x. What will be left here is 1 minus x. Good. So factorize. To factorize, I'll have to divide these sides. So what is the highest common factor is 3. What will be left inside the bracket is 1 minus x, then plus x bracket 1 minus x equal to what? 0. Now if you agree with me, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times minus x is minus 3x. Plus x times 1, x. X times minus x should give us minus x squared. So we'll pick 2 common terms here now. So the 2 common terms here are the 3 plus x outside, and the 2 common terms inside the bracket 1 minus x. So I will write 3. I'll say 3 plus x and brackets 1 minus x equal to 0. And always note, a quadratic equation will give you 2 answers, just like we had in our first video. That's x equal to 2 and 3, something like that. That was all we got. Now this will now be 3 plus x equal to 0, or 1 minus x equal to what? 0. Now we'll now say 3. You collect like terms, sorry. 3 equal to, no, x, not x should be, is x you're looking for, x equals to 0, then minus 3, or 1 minus x equals to 0, although I don't need the 1 minus x because I'm collecting like terms already. So what will be here is, let's say 1 minus 0, 0 coming inside, and x minus x outside. So this is x equals to 0 minus 3, which is minus 3, or 1 minus 0, 1 is equals to x. So x is equals to 1, and yx is equals to minus 3. So that is the answers we have here. So if you expand, you will still see that your answers are correct. Should we check? Let's try that. To check, because you have to learn this very well. X equals to minus 3, x is equals to 1. So bringing it inside, plus 3 bracket x minus 1, that's equals to 0. The minus 1 equals to 0. So take this to times all of this, take this to times all of this. So x, open bracket, x minus 1, bracket, plus 3, open bracket, x minus 1 equals to 0. And you can see x minus 1, something like that. We had it somewhere before. So x times x will give me an x squared. Are you with me? Alright, just calm down. Minus x times 1 minus x plus 0 minus 3 Okay, just be conscious first. Calm down. Then plus 3x minus 3 equals to 0. Let's look at this very well. Remember our answers, we got x as positive 1, x is equals to minus 3. Now to check, x is equals to minus 3 comes inside plus 3, x being 1 minus 1, x bracket x minus 1, then I'm using plus 3x to times x minus 1. I'm correct? Good. Now x times x, x squared, then x times minus 1 minus x plus 3x, then plus times minus minus, and minus 3. Okay, now x squared, this will be minus 2x minus 3 is equal to what? 0. Now we have something like this, and if you look at this now, you might think it's not the same, right? Because one is having a positive sign as saying x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equals to 0. So if I should say, I could say divide all through by minus sign so as to change this minus 1, something the minus 3, that's divide through by minus. You can see such questions at times, because that was the first thing that came to my mind in solving this, assuming I didn't say A is minus 1, B is minus 2, and C is positive what? 3. So A here is positive 1, B here is minus 2, and C here is minus 3, which is a little bit different. Although we say x is equal to 1, and x is equals to minus 3. So when minus 3 comes inside, it becomes positive 3, x plus 3. When minus 1, positive 1 comes inside, it becomes minus 1, if I got this correctly. Which is this. This is what I have here. So, saying 3 plus x, x is times in x minus 1. 3 is times in the other one. So, a little bit strategic. So, totally different. 3, 1 minus x plus x minus 1. I don't know. Using 3 to times minus 1 x and 1 minus x. So let's look at this correctly. Just calm down. Now, this is like saying this was 1 minus x equals to 0. Now, this is x equals to 0 minus 3. Now, this is x as saying 0 minus 1. And if I say 0 minus 1, 1 minus 0, it is 1. Definitely. So, x minus 1 and x positive 3. So, x minus 1 and plus 3, x minus 1 equals to 0. X times x, x squared. So, I think this is where we got it wrong, because you are owing somebody x, use 3x to pay the minus 2, the minus x. You are not owing again. This should be positive what? 2x. Do you agree with me? You are owing. Use 3x to pay this, and this minus 3 is equals to 0. Definitely. So I cannot say divide through, like I said in the beginning, divide through by maybe minus what? Minus 1. So x squared divided by minus 1 plus 2x divided by minus 1 minus 3 divided by minus 1. 0 divided by minus 1 will still be 0. So this cancel, this should be minus x squared. This cancel, this one should be minus 2x. Minus divide minus, so that be positive 3. equal to what? 0. So you have to understand mathematics very well. Seriously, it is very important. So here minus divide minus, then plus. So this is what you'll be having as your answer. Rewriting the other way, you now have plus 3. You can now have minus 2x and minus 3 equals to 0. Oh, sorry, I can't have 2 minus 3. Plus 3 minus 2x minus x squared equals to 0. So this is the original question that was given to us, to factorize. I repeat, sorry if you could hear me clearly. I said this is the original question that was given to us to what? To factorize, which is the same thing as minus x squared minus 2x plus 3 equals to 0, where a is minus 1, b, which is having the minus 2x, is minus 2, and c is positive 3. So you're all welcome. So do well to contact us for more solvings, more questions, and more concepts of any topic on mathematics, physics, and chemistry. You're welcome. And please remember, this is Exam Help and Care Academy. Thank you, and God bless you.